Hi, this is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams, and you are watching the Nerf Herder Council.
Welcome to another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. I am your host, JT. We are live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. You can find us at those three locations live at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every other Wednesday. We are brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. To get your own customizable personal Nerf Herder Council swag, go to shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. And if you are watching on YouTube, please remember to hit that subscribe and that like button so you will be notified every time we go live, which again is every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. With me are my amazing co-hosts AJ and Steve. What's going on, guys?
What's going on?
Hey, what's up, guys?
So, yeah, good thing AJ called me before the show because I was totally in a room for my other podcast. And I was like, "Where is everybody?" And he's like, we got a show tonight." I'm like, "Yeah." So, yeah. So
That's fine. I was sitting here thinking I was all set up, ready to go, and there's this thing right here. I kind of need this to do the show, so I was like, I had my earbud in, and I had the lights going, I had the green screen set up. I was like, I'm good to go.
Yeah, it's
I don't have
not
to say anything.
Joseph Wren. What is up, Mace? So much JT in our faces. That's why I try not to stay in the solo mode too much. No one wants to see that, man. Nobody, not even my wife wants to see that. So AJ, you had
Wasn't that her vote of support for the show in general? Was the fact that it gets you out of her face every other Wednesday night?
That is exactly right. She says, "Why don't you
like,
start a
"Good, go,
podcast?"
Get out of here.
And then I was like, I think I'll start a Dream Theater podcast. And she said, "Yes, that's a great idea."
Then she's like, you know what else you need? More podcasts.
Yeah.
You're bothering me on Mondays.
Yeah.
You
wanna
want to
start-
start your own podcast network? Maybe get like 5 or 6 a week.
Yeah, right.
Every single night that I don't have a gig.
John, it's Sunday night. Don't you want to talk about football or something? Go podcast. Go.
Hey, our buddy Craig's checking in. What's up, Craig? Good to see you. Craig from Canada.
Craig,
Thanks for
I got to say,
checking
I'm
out.
shouting out to you real quick. I saw that Canada's finally letting people come in again. So beware. I'm going to come visit your ass.
Oh, there you go. You have a visitor. My cat is up here, so if the camera bumps, I apologize. He likes to headbutt it. So, there you go. See, I told you things were fixed, Steve. Joseph Friend says Steve sounds beefy tonight. That's
just always. I think he's hitting on me.
He very well may be. He's got that radio voice. You've got the radio voice. It's kind of a simpatico thing.
No, I have a face for radio.
I think we
Apparently,
all do.
I sound good as long as I do this.
Yes. Craig wants me to
I
come
don't know
visit.
audio.
Craig wants me to come visit in Canada too. If I have the time off of work, I am there. Do you need a passport to go to Canada? Is that I don't remember what.
Yes.
Well, there goes that until I get one. So have to work on that. So
Yeah,
all right.
I told you about that last year, dude. That was like a perfect time to get that fixed up.
How? I didn't have to go anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Just be ready for whenever you can. That's what I did.
I'm not. There he is. There's Bubba. Bubba's like, I'm not going to bump the camera, but I will come in picture.
I just saw the face pop in. It looked like the white cat from the meme video that was
I
like
know.
headbanging.
He does, man. He's a trip. All right, so AJ, you had an interesting idea this week. So you had mentioned that there's a lot of really interesting, kind of wide open plot points that are currently being introduced in Star Wars live action stuff. Are you including like Bad Batch and stuff in that as well? I would assume because you mentioned live action, but I kind of feel like you meant like basically all aspects of the Star Wars universe right now, entertainment wise.
Yeah.
So you had wondered, like, obviously they've announced some television shows and some movies, but you were wondering, like, what stories might we actually kind of see based on some of these plot points? And that was interesting to me because you've kept up on it a little bit better than Steve and I have. So
Yeah.
we're going to talk about that because you've got a pretty good handle on these plot points, and wonder if we can extrapolate out maybe some story arcs that might be coming. So what examples do you have? Oh,
Well,
look, we did.
like-
We got a Twitch viewer. Sorry, we got a Twitch viewer. Look at that.
Yeah.
Woohoo! What's
See?
up, Twitch person?
Yeah, we forgot to mention that at the start for anyone who's not on Twitch. If you want to watch us on Twitch, you can do that now. We're set up on Twitch.
Look at
We're
that.
going to do some more stuff over there soon. We just got to work out our streaming schedule.
All right.
But we might have some Fridays coming up. We'll see.
Yep.
It all depends. But anyway, tying into our little audibletrial.com business, if you're
What's
not
that
paying
link,
attention
by
to
the way?
I believe it's audibletrial.com/NHC.
Yep.
See, we got to take every advantage
I
to
actually
pour
had to think about
ourselves
that for a
out, man.
second. Well, I have a book recommendation for everybody. All the High Republic stuff. There's 2 main novels that they put out so far, and it's actually pretty awesome. It's really cool because it takes place a couple hundred years before any of the prequels. So you get to see like the Jedi at the height of their power before they were all like stoic and corrupted and crappy in the prequels. And they introduced some really cool concepts there. So that kind of got me thinking, like, where might we see the threads go from that point forward? Because they never introduce anything without like bringing it into another story somewhere, right? Like, as soon as they introduced coaxium and fuel, for example, in The Last Jedi, then it showed up in Solo. And we have chain codes now as a thing, and that was mentioned not only in The Mandalorian, but also in The Bad Batch. So every time they add a piece to the lore, it shows up somewhere else. Like, do you guys remember the season finale of The Mandalorian season 1 when Grogu force healed Grief Karga?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then 2 days later, Rise of Skywalker came out and Rey used force healing.
Yep.
Yep.
So, like, I'm wondering with that kind of stuff, like, what are we seeing in the stories that they're telling now? Like, what stuff keeps showing up that we think might, like, tie into future stories that they're going to tell down the line? Like, one of the things I noticed is, like, in Bad Batch and also in the comics, there's a lot of stuff around cloning. I mean, obviously, the Bad Batch follows on from Clone Wars.
All
But
right.
there's like more to it than that because they're mutated clones on purpose, and they got this Omega character, and we're like, okay, well, she's clearly not a straight up clone of Jango Fett because, hello, gender swap. And then they had Palpatine as a clone in The Rise of Skywalker. So I'm wondering how much more stuff we're going to get to connect those threads, right? Like Bad Batch introduces us to experiments in cloning. And then you get stuff like Dr. Pershing, I think is his character's name in The Mandalorian, right?
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah, and they wanted Grogu's blood for, I don't know, but they had the Kaminoan patch on their uniform, so we're assuming that they're cloners too. And the comics are harping on cloning a lot with Darth Vader, and apparently Luke's hand is in the Emperor's possession. So it makes me wonder, like, what are we seeing in the stories that are like common threads that might point the way forward for what they're going to tell in like future stories, right? So have you guys noticed anything that's coming up recently that's like a really, like, obviously they're harping on cloning a lot lately, and that is, to me, it seems like a revisionist history or almost like an apologist version of The Rise of Skywalker. Do you get that sense that like all these things that like tie into Rise of Skywalker, it's like they're trying to, like the same way the Clone Wars kind of redeemed the prequels, it feels like a lot of the stuff they're doing now is trying to like redeem Rise of Skywalker. What do you guys think?
I don't know about that. I mean, cloning was always a big part of the series anyway. I mean, I guess I could see it that way, considering they're talking about Palpatine, and that kind of got crapped on, like clone Palpatine. So I guess to like flesh out the backstory would kind of make sense, because
Yeah.
I guess I could see that.
Well, like the big complaint about Rise of Skywalker is that just kind of came out of nowhere, right? So it feels like all the stuff that now is laying the groundwork in previous timelines. It's like, see, it was really thought out. We had that plan all along. We just didn't tell you that part.
Yeah. Joseph Friend says, maybe obvious, but if Luke is not yet bad at the end of The Mandalorian, maybe dark side Luke? Well,
I did see a theory online that's kind of blew my mind talking about that.
Interesting.
In the original Thrawn trilogy from the 90s, back before the prequels were made, the theory put forward for what the Clone Wars was a bunch of Jedi clones that basically the cloning process made them kind of insane. So they tried to conquer the universe. That was the Clone Wars, as originally told in Legends. And someone had this theory online, like, what if the end of season 2 of The Mandalorian, what if that was clone Luke instead of actual Luke?
Oh.
So Grogu just got abducted out from nowhere.
I can
Do you
tell
think
you
that would be like a cool plot twist, or would that just like you just rolled your eyes, John? So I think I know your answer.
I was say I felt annoyed immediately. So
yeah, clone Luke. I mean, you introduce Luke Skywalker into this thing, and then turn around and go, "Fooled you!" Like,
just
no.
kidding.
Yeah, I don't think you can do that. It would be a terrible idea. I know that. It's at some point the whole cloning thing could be used as like a very lazy writing device, kind of like time travel, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
So I don't.
Well, I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. lately on Netflix, so trust me, every bad plot device is in that thing. I'm literally in the middle of a season where they have time traveled, fought robots, fought aliens, and now they're back on
locusts,
Earth.
fought dicks.
And right, and oh yeah, Coulson has some sort of like heart condition that's going to kill him in a few days. They think.
Well, wasn't his heart condition that killed him in a few days like a big blade through it?
Loki's scepter going through his heart would probably qualify as a heart condition.
Right. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, bad plot devices are a thing, but
well,
yeah.
if it covers anything like real life, they would just consider that to be a pre-existing injury, and like his insurance wouldn't cover anything, you know.
Those are the new Star Wars storylines that get into the real world.
Yeah,
like,
right.
dude, the Jedi don't have insurance, you know?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah. Trade Federation negotiations, the taxation of trade routes wasn't bad enough. Let's get into healthcare too.
Yeah.
Healthcare and the Geneva Convention and stuff. Yeah.
No, like there's so much stuff from that original Thrawn trilogy. JT, you got into those books a little bit, didn't you?
Yeah, I read them one time.
Okay, so yeah, you know about the whole like clone thing a little bit, and you know how obviously Thrawn himself came from that book. So they've already pulled that. They've pulled in other characters from those books and canonized them. And then there's a location in those books that is revealed at the end of Bad Batch season 1.
Okay.
No big spoilers. It's confirmed. Yes, it has the same name. So people are like, oh
Okay.
my God, it might be the actual same place. So I wonder like what else might be on the table from all this legend stuff that used to like not count. And now they're just bringing it in one piece at a time, you know?
Well, real quick before we get to that, like to Joseph Wren's point about Dark Side Luke, I want to finish addressing that real fast. I don't think there's enough time for that. I mean, I guess you could, but The Mandalorian's what, was it 7 years after Jedi? Is that
Something
where
like
it was
that?
set? Something like that?
Yeah, 5 or 6 or something
Okay.
close. Yeah.
Yeah, something
so-
around there.
Yeah, so I don't know if there's enough time for him to. I mean, I guess there could be, and that has been something that's been discussed a lot. Is like, you know, Luke actually going down the Vader path. So I guess they could have him, you know, go to the dark side, come back, whatever. I mean, they could. I don't know. I don't see that as a likely possibility, but I mean they could. And then to your point, AJ, in terms of legend stuff, I think the biggest one that we have yet to see, and it just feels like they've got to be holding this in their back pockets somehow, is Mara Jade. I mean, that is just
Yeah.
the most obvious one you could possibly
Yeah.
think of. And, you know, given the time frame of, you know, the sequel trilogy and the not so popularity of, you know, I'm Rey Skywalker, you know, revisionist history, maybe they say that she actually is a Skywalker and she's the child of Luke and Mara Jade, and, you know, that turns out to be, you know, her actual lineage. You know, what if they have 3 more movies? Like, what if 8, 9, or 7, 8, and 9? What if they're going to continue the Skywalker saga and they're like 10, 11, and 12, and then it actually comes out like they're like, oh no, sorry, you are somebody, and you're not a freaking Palpatine, you're a freaking Skywalker. Like, who knows? I mean, they gotta pull Mara Jade in there somehow. So I mean that's an obvious one, but I really think that could be, the way that they go.
I do think they got to work in Mara Jade at some point because she's way too popular of a character to just never get pulled in. But
Yeah.
if she's supposed to hook up with Luke, when would that happen?
Well,
Like you said, the timeline's pretty much painted in for Luke at this point.
yeah, but not for the sequel trilogy. I mean, there's enough time between the Mandalorian and the sequel trilogy. I mean, you're talking 30 years between Jedi and the Force Awakens, so you've got plenty of time in there.
Okay, he froze, right? That's not just me.
Yeah.
Oh.
that is a
He's about to
great.
sneeze.
Yeah. That's a great
For-
place for him to
Luke
freeze too.
So is Space Oats.
Hey, there he is again.
He's kind of back.
What the hell was that?
Kinda. There you are.
You froze for a while.
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea. It was fine a
Oh,
minute ago.
you never do.
I know.
AJ and I both sat there and stared for a minute, like, it's him, right? Okay,
I
Oh,
waited
in
in
agreement. Yeah,
If you were moving, I knew it wasn't me.
Yeah.
yeah. I looked
All
up
right.
at you too, AJ. I was like,
So what's the last thing you heard then?
That
something
you were
about
trying to
30,
explain the
30
time
years.
between-
Yeah, 30
Yeah.
years
Yeah, like-
between.
Okay, so I was saying, Luke has time to sow his space oats, and have a kid. So I mean, it's not beyond the realm of possibility as something that could happen.
So you think
So
Mary
Luke
Jade would
went-
be the kid or would be the mom of the kid?
Well, okay. See, that's interesting because, as you said, it's an extremely popular character. I don't think that they could make her anything but Luke's spouse, love interest, whatever. Because if you change that, people are going to throw a fit.
Yeah.
It'd be like bringing Thrawn in as like a stormtrooper.
Yeah, it's like the EU people would be like, "Oh my god, they finally gave us this," and then they screw the character and make it Luke's kid instead of his love interest or whatever. So it's like,
Yeah.
hey, it's like you bring the EU people in just to crap on them again. It wouldn't be worth all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Now
So do we know what projects are coming out next year of all that stuff that they announced? We know we're getting Book of Boba Fett this year, and hopefully they haven't really confirmed if they're doing another season of Mandalorian next year, have they?
yeah,
don't-
it comes out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
God, it comes out. Is it December? It's a
December
little.
is Book of Boba Fett.
Well, maybe it's the beginning of the year then, because I think it was. I remember that it was a longer wait than the other 2 seasons were, like time wise between. Between when they're coming out and stuff like that. Let me pull this up. So
And Andor is 2022, right?
yeah, Book of
Kenobi
Boba
should
Fett's
be as well,
December.
shouldn't it?
Visions.
We
is
might
coming
be
out.
starting to get into
Yeah,
delays
Visions
because
is-
all
already.
the stuff was supposed to be getting made while the pandemic happened. So
Yeah,
I think we
And-
might be getting like a lag in production now.
yeah. Andor's 2022. Kenobi's 2022.
Yeah.
The Mandalorian season 3. I thought that
Yeah.
was early 2022. And then after the next one that comes up that I'm seeing is that's confirmed of a timeline anyways, Rogue Squadron on December 22nd of 2023.
So that
Yeah,
still leaves the Acolyte and Rangers of the New Republic. What else have
Ahsoka.
they got? Obviously,
Yeah,
they got
Rangers
the Bad
of the
Batch,
New Republic.
Ahsoka.
Yeah. Rangers of the New Republic.
So they're telling a lot of stuff. They're telling a lot of
Lando.
stuff in the Mandalorian era, like so the post Return of the Jedi era, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And then, but next year we get Andor and Obi-Wan, which is around the same timeline. So I wonder if those two shows are going to connect somehow.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I guess. Oh, have they given a timeline for Obi-Wan yet?
Well, it's before episode 4. You know that.
Right. So yeah, I guess if it's Andor, yeah, it should be pretty close in the timeline, right?
They say Kenobi was supposed to take place. I mean, that was the whole point. Was it was in the time between episodes 3 and 4.
Yeah.
So yeah, it
So-
should have some type of path crossing. Even if the two characters aren't on screen together, something's got to play off between the two of them, you'd think.
Yeah, Andor and Kenobi could be the same time frame. Or Acolyte we don't know much about. That, I mean, it's about the Sith, but I mean, we don't know. So I
Well,
mean,
there's
it
not many of
could, I
them running
suppose.
around between episode 3 and 4, so I think we can rule that one out.
Well, we don't know that though, do we?
You'd think.
We don't know. Acolyte could
Yeah,
be frickin'
yeah.
Snoke for all we know.
Hey,
You
absolutely.
know, Palpatine could be working on it like a jar full of Snokes while he's
Yeah,
while he's
right.
working with Darth Vader. Like, I mean, you don't know.
We'll say
Rangers
real quick, you mentioned Visions. I am not an anime person by any stretch of the imagination, but man, that show looks good. I can't wait for
I
that
haven't,
thing
I
to come
haven't
out.
seen it yet.
Star
they've
Wars
got-
Explained said that they've seen a bunch of it and gave a mini review. So I wasn't sure if it was out generally or if they got like a sneak preview.
I've only seen a trailer, so I mean, it's
okay.
coming straight to Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
Nah, I don't recall. Yeah, I don't recall seeing it on there, so they must have had some advanced thing.
I thought I saw some. Oh, yeah, okay. It must have been on Disney Plus. I know I saw it. All right, September 22nd. So hey, a week from tonight.
Yeah, cool.
No, okay,
There
so
you
yeah,
go.
maybe they got like a media preview or something then.
Probably.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know a thing about it. So
Yeah, I really don't either. I saw the trailer that came out like a week or two ago. So as far as I know, it looks like it's I don't know if it's one cohesive story or if it's a bunch of different like short stories. I have no idea, but either way,
It's
it
all
looks
different
cool.
stuff and it's not canon. So
Okay.
you don't have to worry about the stuff counting. I mean, you've seen some of the crazy stuff in those shorts. So
oh,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
not canon?
no, it's not canon.
Well, no, I'm definitely not going to watch it. Cuz I don't give a shit about anime, and if it's not canon, then I got other things to watch.
Yeah, they purposely didn't want to be like hamstrung by continuity, so they just said, just tell any story you want in the Star Wars universe. Go for
Yeah.
it.
Because yeah, we've spoke on that before, where it's like every idea they come out with for a new show, if you say, "Hey, this happened between episode 4 and 5," now it makes you go back and watch episode 5 and go, "Well, where was this guy and this guy, this guy?" So if you just come out and say it's not canon, now it's like, now nobody has to ask any stupid questions about it.
Yep.
Right? I would say one of the
Well,
things
you don't
that-
want to get into the multiverse because then JT will go off. So don't mention any multiverse stuff.
Yeah, don't get me started on that.
Yeah.
Um,
we got to talk about that with the MCU. We don't have to drag that into Star Wars too.
Yeah. One of the things that I think is still going to be addressed, it just seemed too obvious. It just left things too wide open. Is the lightsabers in the sand at the end of the Rise of Skywalker? You just have to assume. I mean, it'd be so easy for her to just be at the homestead and go, "I'm Rey Skywalker." Instead, no, we have to show her burying the lightsabers, so we know that the lightsabers are in the sand at the old Skywalker homestead. So it's like, okay, well, what can we do with those? It's almost like they kind of left it there in case they wanted to do something with it.
Yep.
So
Yeah, you're right. It's like one of those things where it was like, yeah, maybe in a couple of years, Daisy Ridley decides, I'll do some more Star Wars again or something. They go, hey, we got a perfect jumping off point for you. We can go right back and pick the lightsabers up and
Right.
continue from there. Otherwise, it could be 30 years from now and they'll go, oh, yeah, you remember in 2020 there, they buried some shit in the sand. We can use that for an idea.
Yep. And I mean, I did read that supposedly John Boyega has talked to Disney about a Finn series. So who knows?
And honestly, after the complaints he had, if he comes back and does Star Wars again, I'm not really sure you can count anybody out at that point.
Right?
Well, I mean, his complaint was with the. Well, no, I guess his complaint wasn't just with the fans, but maybe this is
Yeah.
okay. Like, he'd be okay with it because it's going to be Finn centric. It's going to be, all Finn all day long.
Yeah, right.
So,
He's in charge. He's in charge, Phasma. He's in charge.
Exactly.
That's just the tagline at the end of the show intro every week. And it's on Disney Plus.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
We need to know what happened to Luke's green saber, okay? It was only seen in flashbacks.
yeah, that's damn it, that's what I want to see in live action. Screw the plot points. Just tell me what happened to Luke's green saber.
They never explained what happened to the blue one. How did the blue one even come back in episode 7?
It was Luke's hand that Palpatine has.
I figured Maz just bought the thing at an intergalactic garage sale or something and had it in a box in the basement of the bar.
There's something they have to tell. The
Well, how
lightsaber story.
Yeah.
But that's so inconsequential it doesn't even matter.
Right. It's another one of those small jumping off points that somewhere down the line they can go, oh, yeah, we said that was a story for a different time. We can tell that now.
I think
like they just want to tease us. There was one of those. You guys didn't bother with the Aftermath books, did you?
No,
you said
that was,
book, so I'm not into it.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
And the books say written by Chuck Wendig. So
Oh, yeah.
That
so, yeah,
asshole.
you can book, count me out, Wendig, count John out. So there we go.
So in addition to the main through line of the whole thing, there were also like cutaways to other side characters, just little side stories and stuff. And one of them was a group of dark side cultists, basically, that were making a deal for Vader's lightsaber. And, one of the things that was left dangling was like, well, wait a minute. I thought Vader died on the Death Star. How'd you get a hold of his saber? And they're like, well, trust us, it's the saber. So it's left dangling like, did Vader's saber survive somehow? Or is this like a forgery? It kind of ties into like the Anakin saber getting in Rey's hands eventually. Like, do we know that was the real saber? Or was that just a forgery that got passed on as, like it's like street swag when you go to the Browns game, like, oh yeah, that's NFL merchandise. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
All right.
So what you're saying is in the Star Wars universe, we need the guys from What's
Pawn
the name
Stars.
of the- Pawn Stars, yeah. you need Rick from Pawn Stars with the lightsaber hilt in his hand.
Oh, I forgot. You've got it. Yeah.
You know what? It's not real. I'll give you $30 for, or I'll give you 2 portions for it.
Two portions or 30 credits.
You're right.
Take your pick. Yeah,
I'm here to sell my hand-me-down lightsaber hilt for 50,000 portions. I'll settle for.
Bro,
I'll settle for 25,000.
Come on.
I'll settle for 25,000 portions.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know, AJ. You mentioned like dark side cultists. Maybe that's what that Acolyte show has something to do with. I mean, who knows?
Maybe.
I mean, we haven't heard anything about that. So if
other
that's
than
something
like
that's already in canon, then maybe that's
Yeah, it's just the generic. Hey, this is a dark side thing, and that's it. So
yeah. Joseph Friend says Ahsoka is bringing back Sabine Wren. Has that been confirmed?
Rumors have swirled that they've cast the part already.
Okay. So Ahsoka is bringing back.
It sounds
Sabine
about
Wren.
as solid as like they never announced Ahsoka was showing up in The Mandalorian, and everybody knew she was showing up. So
Yeah. Okay. So Ahsoka is bringing back Sabine Wren. Any other ties to Rebels that could sneak their way into live action? Kanan Jarrus has already appeared in Bad Batch when he was a Padawan.
There's always the world between worlds. We could do that.
I don't think they're gonna. I mean, Ezra. I mean,
Are you trying to
think
are you trying to trigger John?
Yeah,
Ahsoka might use the Purgles to go scan the galaxy with Sabine for Ezra.
I'm not doing it tonight. I'm holding it in.
They might revisit the Bendu just to see if they can get any intel.
Yeah, right.
Nick Hartley says more B-wings.
Yeah, right.
He's not wrong.
The B-wings are pretty awesome. That was
Very
one thing they did well
underutilized.
in Rebels was they showed the origin of the B-wings.
Yes, very underutilized chip. Let's hope so, Nick. Let's hope so, man. Yeah, like I say, unfortunately, Ezra would be.
Yeah.
I wonder
the
if they're going to
obvious
use
one.
like maybe the Kenobi series because Rebels eventually dipped pretty heavily into like the Force and stuff. And I know we hate the world between worlds. We're not going to go judging it, but that was a thing that was brought up as connected to the Force and the lore of the Jedi in that show. So I wonder if Kenobi is going to tie into any more of that Rebels era kind of like Force revelation stuff.
I mean, it could.
Yeah.
And again, I mean, based on the timeline, the whole Ezra thing could end up in Kenobi. And I mean, the one thing that we learned about this is, Kanan Jarrus, what the hell was his I always forget his Padawan name. What the hell was it? It was like
Caleb Doom.
Yeah.
yeah, okay. So he had a different name until after Order 66. So, Ezra could already be there in plain sight as another character, and we just don't know it because
True.
they haven't said so yet. Like all of a sudden there'll be this revelation that the certain characters like Force sensitive and is a Force user, like has Force powers. All of a sudden, oh my God, that's not Joe Fabitz, that's Ezra Bridger. Like like so, that's something they could do.
They have like a like the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, where Ezra's like, "Oh, you might know me by my other name."
That's their tie-in.
Yeah, right.
Then he says Ezra, and everybody looks at each other like, "Huh?"
Who the hell is Ezra?
Yeah, right.
Man, other
Fallen
Rebels-
Order was incredibly popular too, so I'm guessing we're going to see some of that stuff in the Kenobi series.
Well, I mean, and the easiest thing would be to bring in Cal Kestis, because I mean, he's already
They used an actual actor for
I was
the
gonna-
part,
yeah.
so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so that would be an easy thing to do.
I mean, they already
Yeah.
used Braca in Bad Batch, so they're already acknowledging Fallen Order.
Yeah. I mean,
See, I'm still not sure how much Bad Batch stuff I can talk about with you guys because I don't want to like ruin anything. Because it's kind of cool to like when that planet shows up, I'm like, wait a minute, that looks familiar, and oh, that's from the game.
Honestly, AJ, I think it's too late for me. Like I've started watching so much other stuff that like
it isn't too late for me. It is too late for me.
You've already given up on it. Jesus, Steve.
I did. Like it's the same. We've talked about it before. There's no sense of getting into it again, but it's just like you get behind on shows and it doesn't matter what, and you start watching other things. It completely forget about it. Like I have the Bad Batch has been the furthest thing from my mind for weeks now. So like I'm probably never gonna go back to it.
Yeah, I keep meaning to do that. And every time I sit down, I'm like watching something else. I'm like, damn it, I gotta finish Bad Batch. So maybe after we finish this tonight, I'll watch another episode. I should just force myself to do that. Find a way to binge it. I'm off work Friday, so maybe
Well,
I'll
there you
actually
go.
just finish the whole damn thing. So
Yeah,
I'm going to a concert tomorrow night. I was like, you know what, screw it, I'm taking Friday off. So
sounds fair.
yep, another.
Does
super
that mean
spreader
you're
event.
not going to be talking into infinity tomorrow night?
No, that's every other week at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on the CMS. So, I'm trying to think from. I think Resistance was just too much of a one-off. I don't think you could say there's anything there. We've hit on the cloning aspect of the Rise of Skywalker.
Like Bad Batch in general was like Clone Wars season 7 makes a lot more sense since Bad Batch came out, right? Like
Yeah.
all the stuff they built for Clone Wars season 7 was really just warming up for this new show.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think like, okay, so this one seems even after the first season, it's not really clear where they're going with it, other than answering the question of like tying up the loose ends from the prequels, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, so we never saw the conversion of clones over to stormtroopers. What did happen to Camino afterwards? Did they just go away? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
Because you notice in Rogue One, was it in the Rogue One novel or was it in that Catalyst one? JT, you read that book.
Catalyst.
They
I
had
did, yeah.
Poggle the Lesser like in custody,
Yeah, that was.
and they got a whole bunch of
Catalyst.
info out of him. Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Rebels revisited the planet too, and it was basically like dead, like they had like exterminated everyone on the planet.
Yeah.
So like it feels like Bad Batch is kind of doing the same thing for Camino. Like, oh, you want to know what happened? Fine, we'll paint every corner of this picture for you, and it ain't pretty.
Yeah, I really think the whole. I mean, I don't know if this will be explained solely in the Mandalorian, but the whole we need Grogu's blood thing. I mean, obviously it's a cloning thing, but I think something. I just have this weird feeling like it's going to be something bigger than that. You know, something more important than just another. Oh, we got to clone him.
Yeah.
You know,
Like
I
you,
mean,
you want it to be, because we talk a lot on this show about low hanging fruit when it comes to Star Wars ideas, and it's just like it would feel some type of way. It would feel lame if it's just like, oh, it's cloning. We knew that a year ago when you guys brought this plot point up. So yeah, hopefully it's something different just to throw us off the scent a little bit.
Yeah.
That might be the missing piece of the Palpatine clone puzzle, though. Because didn't they say it might have been brought up in the Clone Wars or something, but wasn't it said at some point, like basically you can't clone a Jedi, like force powers don't clone?
I don't remember that.
Maybe.
It was brought up in something, and I don't know if it was Legends or a canon book or what, but I swear it's been said at some point. That's why there weren't just clones of Jedi. You couldn't clone force-sensitive beings. It just didn't work. The midichlorians wouldn't do their thing. So I don't know. Maybe like that's what they want Grogu for, is to like experiment with that some more.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that would make sense because. Yeah, that would make sense because I'm trying to think of the timeline. But then you have to get into, okay, how do they know that he's got force powers, and what happened before the Mandalorian to where everybody wants Grogu, so I mean that could be another story, the Mandalorian prequel. Unfortunately, that then drops us right back into the lap of our favorite little, Yoda hooking up with Yaddle thing. But
Yeah, right.
but
Well, Grogu himself is kind of like a dangling plot thread too, isn't he? Like they said he's about 50, right?
Yeah.
correct.
Which means he was born in the prequels, right? Like
Before.
probably just before the start of the prequels.
Yeah.
Okay, so Yoda and Yaddle smashed. Then episode 1 happened. That's why Yaddle wasn't around for episode 2. She was on maternity leave.
Maternity leave.
Yeah, right.
I mean, it kind of fits in the timeline. But yeah, so we might
Trademark-
see like
trademark.
an even younger Grogu in like Kenobi or something. I don't know.
Maybe Luke was looking for Grogu the whole time as well. So he just
Ahsoka
finally
said he was
found him.
raised at the temple.
Maybe during
Yeah.
the Kenobi series, they'll talk about how Kenobi forgot that he ever owned a droid.
They're gonna fix all the crap, like the few open plot threads from the original trilogy.
No, he probably just had a falling out. That's it. R2 knew too much crap, so Obi-Wan's like, fine. I don't know this guy.
Get out of here, trash can.
Yeah.
So Nick Hartley, we did actually talk about Clone Luke earlier in the show before you were able to jump on. So we actually did speculate about that, and we thought that was probably not going to happen because people would just get really pissed off.
Yeah, we just said it was a stupid idea, and Lucasfilm does everything we say. So, sorry.
We're secretly on the writing committee. We're farming ideas for our next project from the people who listen to the show.
Yeah.
How does all this?
That's
stuff we
why they
say
won't let
Nerd
us on
Herder
the
Council-
podcast stage at Celebration. They want to keep us a secret. We're the
Yep.
Grogu of the Lucasfilm writing team.
Shh! You weren't supposed to say that. People
As
are like, how-
all the screens just go blank.
yeah,
Right?
yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, AJ, I like your point about Grogu himself being just a dangling plot thread. I mean, there's so much you can do off of that. I think it's going to be hard to tell until at least one of these other shows comes out, or we have an explanation of the timeline of them. Because without knowing when these things are happening, they could literally just be one-off type of situations, or they could all be during the same time period. And they're like, okay, well, how are they going to do this? You know, like, for example, if they did bring in Cal Kestis and Ezra Bridger, okay, well, it's the same time frame. They're two Jedi. Like, how's that going to work out? So, you know, it'll be real interesting to see, you know, what happens once we know exactly when these shows are going down. Because right now it seems kind of like one-off stuff. And, you know, with the High Republic, I mean, it you can't really go back there because that's only going to be in print, if I remember right. So it's just strictly on the print side of things. So it's not like they're going to do something as like remember what happened like 200 years ago in the High Republic era? Like, they're not doing that.
Well, I wonder about that. Like, yeah, so all the stories in the High Republic era will be only told in books and comics, but it doesn't mean that they can't pull stuff from it's canon. So they can pull stuff from there and use it in live action stuff. It just won't be told in that time period. So
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, maybe like Dr. Aphra, for example, maybe she makes the leap to live action and she discovers, I think she already has discovered some like High Republic era artifacts or something. Because she's kind of like an Indiana Jones type of character. So yeah, they could pull something from that and be like, yeah, if you want to hear about all this crap, we got books.
Yeah, that's one I forgot about, and that makes a lot of sense. That's a really popular character, even though she's only in comics. That one would make a lot of sense. You know, not being goofy at all here. You know, that you want to talk about drawing in the LGBTQ community, bring in, you know, the first openly gay main character in Star Wars, and that would be huge. So I think that's definitely a possibility, if not likely. I had completely forgotten about Dr. Aphra because I don't read the comics.
And she's rolling around. Oh, let's see. What are they telling right now? I think they're between Empire Strikes Back and Jedi. I don't know like when her story begins. So I mean, because she seems like the sort of character that'd be likely to show up in a streaming series versus a movie, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, what movies are we going to get set in the time of the original trilogy going forward? You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean, there's that to take into consideration as well. So, I mean, I don't know what else we're going to get, because anything that you would tell seems kind of a little bit pointless, I guess. You know, you got that X-Wing movie coming out, and it's, you know, based on the X-Wing books, but it'll be interesting to see how
I don't even know when
ties
that one
into
allegedly take. If they were to go on the books, do you know what time period that was?
I do
'Cause
not.
I never read them.
I did not either. I don't think it's that Alphabet Squadron series. I think it's something else, but I don't know
No,
of any,
Alphabet
so
Squadron is in the Mandalorian time period. It's like in the cleanup after the war kind of a thing.
Yeah, I honestly don't know. So I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see what they do with that. So,
They seem to really like telling stories in the aftermath of, sorry to say aftermath, but literally the aftermath of the original trilogy. Like the Mandalorian time period has what, like three, 4 series set in it,
yeah,
and maybe this movie too with Rogue Squadron. So I think that's where it's going next. I don't know how much there is to really tell because the Rise of the First Order's already been told like ad nauseum in the books already.
your internet's screwing up again. Haha, it wasn't only me tonight.
Yeah, my connection kind of sucks. I can see it.
Yeah, it's the second time. Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, there's any number of places that they could go. And I don't know. I can't really think of anything else. I got to be honest with you. I'm
Yeah.
you know, I'm not.
That's actually a rough question to pose for a night.
Yeah, I was because I was trying to think of stuff that wasn't obvious,
Right.
but there isn't a lot. I don't think.
Well, let me tie it back to the High Republic then for a quick second. So the one reason I'm really enjoying this series is because it really shows exactly how crappy the Jedi were in the prequels, like how far they'd gotten away from their own ideals. And it's really cool to see the Jedi as actually like fun heroes instead of these stoic, dogma steeped people that they were. Like Obi-Wan really sucks, actually, is really what it comes down to. As I'm reading these books and I'm finding out what I used to behave like prior to the prequels, it's like, wow, man, Obi-Wan really, really sucks. He's doing so much stuff that like Jedi of previous generations would have been like, this is not the way. Okay. So
Yeah.
like Qui-Gon really was the outlier. He was kind of a throwback to, I feel more and more reading this stuff, I feel like Qui-Gon was the template for what they envisioned the Jedi used to be like. And I wonder if there's ever going to be a way to like pull that forward. Like, unfortunately, it seems like Luke never got that lesson. Like in Last Jedi, Luke was like, yeah, I know everything that happened basically in episodes 1, 2, and 3. And that's it. Like he never flashed back and said, yeah, and I've been out there, I've been getting women left and right, and I've been doing whatever, just being a good guy about the galaxy and doing whatever, getting love, getting attached, just making sure I'm doing good things with it. That's all. So like I don't know when we're ever going to get any lessons from the High Republic trickling forward in the timeline to see how it plays out, or anybody else who learns that history at some point.
Yeah. Unless that's something that's in the Jedi texts, that Rey has. So maybe that's how what future stories are. She resurrects the Jedi, but in the image of, the quote unquote glory days of the Jedi. Maybe that's what's in those books. That's how they're bringing that back. And it would be
you
pretty.
Just introduced your own plot hole. Damn it. Because Luke has all those books, right? In Last Jedi, Luke has all those books, so he would have read all the history that they're just now telling in the High Republic era. And yet, he never mentioned anything about that stuff.
Well, but
of course, no Yoda. So
that was good. You sounded like a droid. Yoda does infer that he didn't read it, and Luke kind of was like, so maybe he just skimmed them, and there's actually stuff in there that was important. And Luke just was like, we can't resurrect the Jedi. And Rey's like, hold on. I read these things cover to cover, and yeah, we can. Let's do it this way. So maybe that's it. I mean,
that makes a lot of sense, actually. Luke wanted nothing to do with that, so maybe he was just the protector of the books, but he didn't even want to read it himself because he was afraid of what he would learn from the text.
Yep. And how symbolic would it be if, the resurrection of the Jedi comes from ideals that were only in the Star Wars novels, and in the movie it comes out of a bunch of books. I mean, it could be.
Hey, meta's the way to go, man.
It could be. So, all right. Well, why don't we close up shop on that one, since I'm a little dry and Steve's a little dry. So, and we actually had a good idea. So let's end it before we come up with something really stupid, which is usually what we do.
Shit. I ain't even finished my first drink, and I got a backup ready to go.
Oh, you can just chug that one.
Yeah.
So, well, thanks everyone for tuning into another episode of the Nerf Herder Council. Again, we are live right here on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch every other Wednesday at 8:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/NHC for your 30-day trial and a free audiobook download. You can get customizable Nerf Herder Council swag at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. If you are watching us on YouTube, do not forget to click the like and subscribe button so you get notified every time we go live. And if you'd like to check out the audio replays of the show, some of them are up there. If AJ would ever get the rest of them up there, I did check today. Way to go, buddy. But, just Google the Nerf Herder Council, and a lot of the audio versions are right there for you. And if you want to go back in our history, I think, man, we're up, how many episodes are we at, man? Like
A lot.
Yeah,
Man, I restarted the numbering when we went live, and we're already into the 20 on live shows, and we were over 100 on the old ones by far. So
yeah. So if you're new to the show, there's a ton of audio content back there for you to check out. So go check that out. Some good stuff in there. So once again,
also the YouTube thing you brought up, same thing on Twitch. Follow us, all that, and you will get notified the moment that we go live. So follow on all of them. That way your phone gives you like 7 notifications that we went live.
Exactly. So once again, I'm your host, JT at Dog Pound Jedi. He is AJ.
at Adams 579.
Perfect time for him to break up.
I was just thinking, I was like, I hope his internet breaks up while he does that. It'll be hilarious.
It did.
I willed that to happen.
Yes, you did. And he is Steve.
At Nerf Herder Steve.
And we will catch you guys next time.